even if you're a single mother who works 2 jobs and you're an immigrant and you have no control over what your child does because you're never home and you never see him and he basically takes care of himself from the age of 9 on upwards, and he gets into self-harm and he does a bunch of dumb things and he hangs out with some really bad people, even though there's no social media, but he's on Usenet at 2 in the morning doing a bunch of dumb things, and there's a lot of cutting and burning and shit that happens. He might grow up to be perfectly functional if slightly restrained as a human being. So don't worry too much about that. All right. So how many people here are rich or would think of themselves as rich?
Those are named term compared to?
There you go. Yeah, that's great. Okay, so we're going to play a little game, and I'm going to talk about how not to get rich, and it's going to be a series of things you can do to achieve this goal that we all have. And you should count up the points to see how many of them you have achieved, and in the end, see what your number is, and we can compare. This should be entertaining. So originally I proposed a different talk, and Steve didn't think it was interesting. Then I proposed this talk, and Steve also didn't think it was interesting, but someone bailed out, so now I'm here. Just so you know. By the way, this is also part of the path of not getting rich. So for those who don't know, I've been in tech full-time since the age of 15. I've done this more than I've done everything else, including school and whatever the hell. And it's been just over 20 years now for me. I've been at startup, I've been at large companies, I've been a comp sci professor. I've done pretty much everything except for being a quota-carrying salesperson, because that was a little too much pressure even for me. So let's talk about what it takes to consistently fail to get rich. I call this career misadvancement. It's a laudable goal. First, don't be born with money. Second, don't be born white. Third, or male. This is actually a negative for me. Fourth, or a sociopath. How many people out there know startup founders who have all 4 of those traits? I've known a fair number. Okay. Start young, really young. By the way, if you Google image search, Indian kid computer, this girl comes up. Start before you know anything at all about people and humans, about business, about the strange ways in which people behave when you put them in groups and there are goals and competition and stuff. And before you even figure out that egos are a thing and they interact in weird ways. Just have some love for solving problems, for being engaged, being interested, being challenged, and be motivated by your own internal desire to do interesting things. Be socially inept, awkward, maybe introverted, end up alone a lot. This is important because it provides a lot of time for you to play with machines and tinker with code and learn how things work and take things apart and put them back together and take them apart again and put them back together again. And maybe think about how you too one day can be a stock image of someone staring at a terminal and some charts. I Google image searched hacker. Or this, which would be kind of better, for those who remember. There we go. Be insufficiently ambitious or competitive or type A to thrive in the best schools. Do not go to the best schools. Pay your way through school. If you remember, don't be born with money. Spend more time working than you do being in class, or meeting people, or going to parties. Basically, be boring and unavailable and working. Join a startup. Do this young. Do it before you even know what a startup is or means or have heard the word equity. Work for peanuts. Don't know what equity is. Don't get any. Listen, be thankful for the experience. I really do wonder what the founders of that company were saying about me when I wasn't around. Fail. But do it slowly. Get burned, feel bad, take it personally, have it hurt. Enormous global companies. Learn about the world and how shit actually works. Become cynical. Take interest in boring problems that other people don't really want to solve. Problems like operations and very, very low-end, back-end infrastructure. Don't follow your friends to the valley during a funding boom. He's actually a great guy. Don't work on social media and consumer apps during a funding boom. Don't get acquired, travel the world, and then become a VC in Singapore. He's actually a great guy. I love him. Don't care about convex outcomes and optionality. Know jack shit about finance. Don't even think about it. Work at jobs because you're interested, not because there's an upside, and not because there's potential. Work hard. I mean, we all work hard. We're here, aren't we? But have a life outside of work. Have interests that are not programming, not gaming, not algorithms, although I'd read ACM papers for fun, but I wouldn't recommend it. Not startups, or what I think of as kind of the immense kibitzing echo chamber that is our industry. There's a lot of kibitzing. It never stops. It's kind of boring. Have friends outside of the industry. By the way, for those who've broken bread with me or had a drink with me, this is Dave. He's a real-life human being. He's a close friend of mine. This is the person that taught me how to eat, how to drink, how to appreciate the work and the labor that goes into making good things, how to be a decent customer and not an asshat, and generally raise the bar. Don't go to networking events, because you might meet people who want to give you money. Be intolerant of people in power who are assholes, especially when they're in your chain of command. And for everyone who believes there isn't a chain of command, even for those people who think they work in holocracies, there's actually a chain of command. I'm sorry. There really is. Even here in holocracy. You just won't talk about it. Call them out for doing bad things. Or, things that are plainly illegal, but somehow tolerated for a very long time. I once almost got fired for getting someone fired and thrown in jail. I recommend it. Be loyal. Be like a dog. Dogs are awesome. Who has a dog? I love dogs. Dogs are great. Be loyal. Grow emotionally invested in your work, in your team, in your users, in your community, and have a mission. Be a missionary. Do not job hop for titles or compensation. By the way, I've been trying to hire people nonstop for the last 3 years, and I see an infinity of this. So you've been in the job market out of college for 4 years and you're a director of something? Do you actually know the concerns of human beings whose compensation and families and health insurance depend on decisions that you make at 25? If you do, that's fantastic and I'm very proud of you, but I've yet to meet one. And I certainly wasn't one. Do not be a part of the club. How many people here work in Silicon Valley and actually reside there? Okay. So you know precisely what it's like to not have gone to the right schools or be a part of the right network or whatnot. It is not dissimilar from how things work with law and law schools and finance and certain MBA programs, despite what we say about meritocracy. Generally, access is restricted, and it's restricted to in-groups, and to be in the in-group you have to be from certain places. And that is mostly true most of the time. When it's not true, it's an exception. At least I found in 20 years. I have no answer to the question, what makes you a 10x, whatever, engineer, marketer, what have you. Fail to think of yourself as the pinnacle of humanity. Fail to do that. And don't think of your company, or any company, as a paragon of virtue. Perish the thought. By the way, if you Google image search 10x engineer, this kid comes up on the first page. This kid. By the way, look at his keyboard. Nice keyboard. Not plugged into anything. I don't know what he's looking at. I don't know what he's doing. But it's a clicky keyboard, and we all love those. Solve ever harder problems because that's what you like to do. Do not promote your work or yourself. Just solve the damn problems. Don't believe the hype. For bonus points, clearly communicate that you do not believe the hype. Every time you hear a mission and vision statement, look at the person and be like, no, you don't believe that either. And if you do, you're insane. Which is okay for you. Give a fuck. Read the quote. Can anybody not read the quote? Okay, good. I'll say it again. Give a fuck. This is a path to not riches. And finally, the biggest trick of all is to not be lucky. So I'll read this quote. Let's see. So Howard Marks says, "The future does not exist. It's only a range of possibilities. We have to understand that most outcomes will be determined by luck." Does anybody know who Howard Marks is? Right. He's an investor, a trader, not an academic, and he's an author. Interestingly, one of the things that he says in his writings is that as, and this might be somewhat counterintuitive depending on your school of thought with regard to economics, as there are more players in any given space, and in technology, if you look at the funding landscape and you're in this world and you look at, for instance, machine learning startups, he says that the more players there are, the less favor luck can deliver to any individual player. That's interesting, because that means luck kind of matters less right now. In any case, try not to be lucky. It's bad for being poor. Here's where I got all the images. I want to do one tangent before I end, because I went fast and there's a little time. Is that okay, Steve?
Of course.
Okay, so the tangent is about not being born male. So I am born male, and I experience the advantages of that in a way that I have no ability to actually understand or express. But I happen to be married to someone who is not born male, and she happens to have been a startup founder and been successful and sold a company and whatnot. And it's utterly amazing and fascinating how poorly treated women are, especially women in positions of, you would think, pretty sufficient success that anybody should be highly respectful. So whatever you think you're doing to make that a better world, to solve that problem and to be helpful, you could be doing more and you should go ahead and do it. All right, thank you.